And so I love your story about, you laid it out there, and you said that, you took that responsibility on, and you realized that you let your wife down there, but boy, you jumped in after that. And talk a little bit, we've talked about this before, but talk a little bit about how the roles changed because your wife went back to school. So what happened then?
That was powerful. Well, two things happened, Ginger. Number one is my wife had always had a love and caring for people. And so about that time, not too long thereafter, she went back to school to become a nurse and was out of the house 53 hours a week. We actually clocked it while she was in school and doing nursing and rotations and all those kinds of things. So for the next several years, our roles shifted, and I became a primary caretaker, meaning going to the IEPs and engaging. And by the way, a little footnote, Ginger, one of the salvations for us in this experience was a group called the Parent Education Network, which, of course, is a sister of POPIN. It became a play. I had no vocabulary, I had no experience, I had no idea what an IEP was, or I didn't even know what cerebral palsy was. When the doctor said he has cerebral palsy, I had no idea what that was. And Parent Education Network, or one of the outreaches of the Family Network on Disability, which is who you are, they became my go-to place to get information. And I had insatiable desire to learn because I knew I was way behind the curve. And one thing I want to say to fathers and everybody, you can learn, you can grow, there is information available. Matter of fact, there's lots of information available. But of course, you said it well, what you don't know, you don't know. And so I needed someone to kind of coach me and help me and direct me and guide me in that journey. So my wife and I, we started partnering, obviously, much better in the parenting. But I kind of stepped into it because my wife, when she got out of nursing school, went into an 11 at night to 7 in the morning work shift. And what that did is it actually thrust me into, which was actually the mercies of God, because I needed some of that push. I was one that went to the IEPs because she was asleep. She was working at night, sleeping during the day. Necessity is a wonderful motivator.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
But I wouldn't trade that for anything in the world because I jokingly say I have a PhD in denial, and it was like learning an entire new language. And it's like, you've probably heard that story. It's like planning a trip in Italy and getting off the plane and you're in France. And I thought about what it was going to be to be a father, and we had completely different challenges than I'd ever imagined. But I was able to learn. And the real strong message to me is there were a lot of people that they were there to help me. If I just allowed them, if I said humbly, I need to understand this. Can you help me? Where can I go for information? And so now this has been, it really ages me. I'm 65, so I tell you, this was like in the early 80s. Jeffrey was, most of his care was at Shriners Hospital in Tampa. So at that time, back then, we did not have a lot of the resources we have in Pensacola. So we were regularly going back and forth to Tampa for medical care. And basically, it's been an interesting journey. We had an amazing elementary, our son went to home elementary school here in Escambia County. And at that season for us, the staff was just phenomenal. They helped us so much. So Jeff went to home elementary school. After that, he went to the school next door, Workman Middle School. After that, he went to Washington High School. And then he went into an extended program till he was 22, which, of course, again, I knew none of that. I didn't know that it existed. but I had people that in Parent Education Network, Florida Network on Disabilities, POPIN, those kinds of people coached me and kind of helped us know how to go.
You know, and we all do have a different journey, where we start, where we have to go, what we have to learn as parents and as advocates for our children. And, you know, there is so much, because we have to learn those things, but we have to become experts on disabilities as well. We have to know what, you know, our children need and how they communicate with other people, and how they learn. And these are all things that we have to learn on the fly. And we have to, you know, we are all fortunate. And I love that you said that you had so many people that were willing to help. And I know that we all have that. So whether we're utilizing resources like the PTI, which is POPIN, or the Family Network on Disabilities, you talked about Child Find, which is an amazing program. And what they're tasked to do is they are responsible for finding children that need special education services. And so, and then they help fit that together and provide that. We talked about your program a little bit, what you're involved in, and Project Empower. And that's here in the area that we're in. That's another resource that's available to parents, you know, and utilizing those and utilizing the people that we come across. I can't tell you how many times I've been out in the grocery store or at church or at a meeting or on the military base or just somewhere, and I've said something about my children, or someone has seen my child, and I've just started a conversation, or at a therapist started a conversation, and somebody has heard me, and they've come up to me and they said, "Hey, I heard you talking about this, and I've had this experience." And then we start that communication and that networking. And whether I'm able to teach them something, or more often than not, they've taught me something in my journey, that's a really important thing for us to do, is to utilize each other and utilize the knowledge that we have as parents, because there is such a plethora of information out there for us to use. But we don't know it if we don't, you know, communicate with each other, and we'll get what we need that way. I feel strongly about that.
I do too. There was a woman in my world, she's my friend now, but probably 1981, 82, 83, Joanne Scaturo, who taught me one of the first baby steps I ever took, which was tremendous for me. She said, "Mike, as a parent of Jeffrey, you are an equal partner." Because I felt so intimidated. I was with people who would throw out acronyms all the time. I mean, simple things that I know now, like 504 and IDA and IEP. So I found myself feeling incompetent. And by the way, I want to speak from a man. One of the biggest challenges for men is we don't like to feel incompetent. And so what we do is we move away from things that exacerbate our sense of incompetence. And Joanne Scaturo, I say this because people can give a building block that is essential in sometimes just a sentence. Mm-hmm. And Joanne said to me, "You're an equal partner." Another word she gave me, which transformed my life with Jeffrey, is while Jeffrey had all these people, support coordinators and physical therapists and occupational therapists and language therapists and adaptive PE people, I had a new title. I was not only Jeff's father, but I was Jeff's lifetime case manager. That was, I started introducing myself as, "I'm Michael Collins and I'm Jeffrey's lifetime case manager," because people were coming and going every year. I mean, different teachers, different therapists, different schools. And I realized that even though I was not as versed in the vocabulary, nobody knew my child better than my wife and I.
Absolutely right.
We knew him inside out, upside down. We were there from the day he was born till next Monday. He'll be 43 years old. We knew what he ate, what he didn't eat, what he liked, what he didn't like, what triggered him, what didn't trigger him. We knew his learning styles. We may not always have the professional verbiage or language. And one of the things I'd say to parents today, I want you to say to yourself, "I am my child's lifetime case manager, and I'm an equal partner." No matter where you are on your journey, you're not diminished because you don't have a title, or you don't have maybe the right vocabulary. I won't say the professional vocabulary. Nobody has your child's best interest more than you do. And that is a powerful gift. And as a father, I found that my engagement was, first off, critically important to my son's success. It was vital to my wife's emotional well-being. Just to be able to have a partner that was, it wasn't that I was ever mean or bad. I think, and it wasn't that I was physically absent, but I would think I was sometimes emotionally absent. My wife said to me something that changed my life about 35 years ago. One day when she was kind of venting a little bit, and I was telling her what she ought to feel and what she ought to think. And she said, "What I need is your shoulder, not your mouth." And I realized that what she needed was someone to understand her. I didn't have to fix it. See, as a father, I felt like my job was to fix, or a husband to fix things, and I wasn't able to fix this. And my wife was one of those people that helped me a whole lot to know that sometimes she just needed my presence, not for me to fix it, not for me. I couldn't fix it. There was no way to fix it. And by the way, I want to tell you now, I mean this, 43 years into this journey, this is not laborious. This is not bad. And Jeff is a joy. I mean, I literally just had lunch with him 15 minutes before this interview. He adds so much to my life, and he's such an important part of our family. And I want one of the messages I want to declare, while I could not have visualized, because I had no way of knowing what life would look like 40 years later, it's good. It's not bad. It's wonderful. I mean, would I prefer that my child didn't have any disabilities? Sure. I'd prefer that he was flourishing with no challenges. But the reality is, we all have special needs, and we all need extra grace sometimes. And Jeff has taught our family so much and been such a gift to us. And 40 years into that journey now, I can say I'm very thankful for where we are.